to welcome you all, and welcome Doctor, Professor. You didn't want to call, didn't want any title. So the title is my friend. Actually, my colleague as well. Welcome, colleague as well. Dr. Larry Blatt. I really want to say thank you for joining us. I tried for the last 3 months since I wrote this article. I asked him because he's an expert, and hopefully after while he speaks, you might ask all the questions you want, and then later on I will speak from the halacha.
Don't ask any questions.
Are there 2 mothers? 3 mothers? No mothers? Who knows? Let's talk. Go ahead. Larry, here you are.
Thank you, Speaker, and I apologize for the lengthy delay in getting this done for you. I know you've been every week emailing me, asking me when, or calling me, asking me when, and I apologize for how long it's taken. But I'm going to not take a long time because really, we really want to know about the shear, the halachas of it, and I'm not going to talk about the halachas of it. I'm going to talk just briefly so that everyone can understand what is this all about. How can you have 3 parents, and what is the big issue that people are raising with the advances in genetics. There's no question that when we look at the medical field in all specialties, the greatest advances today are coming in genetics. And what we're understanding based on the Human Genome Project and the advances in technology with sequencing, humans sequencing the gene to find more and more information based on what's there. It's created opportunity, it's created dilemmas, it's created ethical questions, and many, many legal questions that ramifications based on what's listed on the Human Genetic Project. So we understand where babies come from. We obviously know that it takes a sperm and an egg to combine for, quote, 1 father and 1 mother. So how does 1 + 1 = 3? How do we get to this question? Why are we raising that as a possibility? So we go back to the basic of genetics, and that's the double helix strand of DNA, which I think everyone here recognized. We have 23 matched pairs of chromosomes, and they're found in the nucleus of every single cell.
Excuse me, can you increase the contrast on that screen?
Yeah.
It's very difficult to see from here that way.
Mickey, you want to turn off the light in the front?
You need the contrast.
No, the front part.
You need the contrast.
There you go.
Popcorn?
When Speaker talks, you can put the lights back on.
You need the contrast, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Is that okay? Can you see it or not?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
No contrast.
It's okay. You're seeing a lot better than me. I just came back from the ophthalmologist, and my eyes are dilated. So we know that 23 matched pairs of chromosomes, and in the nucleus of every cell in our body, that's where we find the DNA. And what it is the basic instruction manual. It tells what's going to go on, how we develop, what we look like, how many of us will still have hair at my age, how many of you will not have or don't have, what color the hair, all these things that go on with relationships, obviously, with regards to gender as well. The issue is it's not the only DNA required for the human to exist. There's also something called mitochondrial DNA, which really, until recently, hasn't had a lot of interest in the lay public, in the general public, and in the medical public. What it is really it creates the energy. It is the energy-producing DNA that is there, and as you think about where they are in cells, and we'll talk about it, because it was thought that, and you only get mitochondrial DNA from your mother. And I want you to think about that for a moment. How is that possible if it's in every cell, if it's all there? Why is it just the mother? And I'll explain that in a few moments why that is. So here's what it would look like in the cells. The mitochondrial cell is a bean-shaped organelle. And it's, as I said, the energy or the powerhouse of every cell that's in there. And that's not in all the regular DNA, as you know, that's in the nucleus. It's in its own environment in every cell. It's not created by a combination of male and female. And as I said, until recently, it was believed that you only got it from the mother, which is really not correct. They may talk that way, but it's really not correct. There is a component, a small component of a male factor that will be in a mitochondrial DNA. So maybe, theoretically, it's maybe 4 parents. if depending where you're getting it from, or 3, it could be from the male side or a female side along the way. So, like any of our cells, and any of the way we have babies, it's really amazing, and it's a miracle to think a normal baby comes out. It's not the opposite. It's not when there's a malformation or an abnormality what happens. That's for sure when that happens, we see it a lot all the time. Why did it happen that way? Turn it around the other way. Why, with all the mechanisms that's required to conceive, to carry a pregnancy, that it's normal? And so there are mutations. We all carry mutations. If you look at my gray streak that's up here, it's something that my sister has. We've had it when we're much younger. That's the worst of what I have, and I'm sure it's not, because I have my father's heart disease as well. But fundamentally, we all carry something. And just like the regular DNA can have mutations, and we know very well the changes of Tay-Sachs in our population, Riley-Day syndrome, or familial dysautonomia, or BRCA, for breast and ovarian cancer, all these mutations, there's something in every cell that there can be mutated in these billions of makeup of the DNA, the way it's arranged with the amino acids, the way it's developed. But so can the mitochondria carry those mutations. And therein lies the really essence of how we're going to figure out how do you have 3 parents if we have to get it mainly from the mother, which is where this is going to come from. So whether you want to be lay terms of Sheryl Sandberg and Bill Gates, take a Zuckerberg and Arianna Huffington, who will comment on everything as possible, it can certainly have those things that are there. So in 2016, there was a baby born with Leigh syndrome, which is a mitochondrial disorder, that had the defective mitochondria, known because she had a previous child with that, was replaced with mitochondria from a donor. And that allowed, that replacement, it allowed for a normal development of a normal baby without the same disease. In the absence of that, she would have had every baby have, because it's not like the pairs of chromosomes, it's in every single cell. And so it's going to have the mutated and the effectiveness, and the effect on that baby will be in every cell. So they were able to replace it, and I'll show you how that's done, and allow for the normal birth. And therefore, that was the big splash that they had 3 parents, because they get. What month was it in? They did it. They do it early. It has to be done in IVF.
There were 2 mothers they took from the egg?
No, no, I'll get into that. You'll see what it's saying. So here's how we go. How do you make 3-parent baby? Because that's your question. Okay, so if we look here, if you follow number 1, it says here, here's the DNA, okay? And
the yellow is the DNA.
Egg and the faulty mitochondria. Okay, the DNA is removed. Okay, and the mitochondria donor egg. It's a different donor egg. Okay, that's 3. It's transferred. The mother's DNA is transferred to the donor egg, which is here. So she actually has the real DNA in this one, right? And then each cell will have combined the mitochondrial DNA from the donor egg and the mother's DNA, because she had all the faulty mitochondrial DNA, and that's where the healthy baby was born.
Is that that's pre-fertilization?
It's all pre-fertilization.
So is the egg that they use the egg from the donor or
donor egg?
The donor egg.
Pre-fertilization.
Because she has in every single cell the mitochondria. But they take the DNA from the mother, right?
Take it out.
And put that, which is still good, in the donor egg that has the mitochondria. So they replace the DNA from the mother, so it's the real mother's DNA, with the donor's mitochondrial DNA.
But just as importantly, the donor's
No, the egg.
Yeah, but the egg is
No,
just
the egg.
The egg is the carrier.
Can you offer
The egg is.
baby without
I don't understand
the
that.
egg, just the DNA?
Who is it?
No.
Whose is it?
DNA?
Whose is the egg?
Let's
Donor.
ask the question one by one. You want to ask the question?
Yeah.
So raise your finger, otherwise.
You talk about the DNA now. The
But DNA makes
egg
up the
one,
content of the egg.
the egg 1 and egg 4 are the same,
No.
correct?
No.
No. No.
I thought you removed the DNA from one egg and put it into another.
This is the egg, right?
Yes.
The mother. It has faulty mitochondria that's in every single cell.
Okay, so you take that
the
DNA out.
itself out, so the faulty mitochondrial DNA is left.
Okay.
Okay? goes to a carrier. Just think about it as you're in an airplane. You take all the passengers out, and then it's still going to fly.
Yeah, but where you get it from?
You take a donor egg.
So in other words,
You take
have another egg.
woman's egg. Okay, you remove her DNA from there, right? It's very
Okay, you exchange
microscopic.
the DNA.
And you put the mother's DNA
in
into
there.
that has the normal functioning mitochondrial DNA.
And then you reimplant that into the mother.
So you replace the egg.
next.
You take a new egg into which you place
And
the
then
old
it starts
DNA.
replicating, and you're replicating with normal mitochondrial DNA.
After you're impregnated.
And that, well, you hope. Yeah.
First, you got to fertilize it. Basically, what it is.
Okay? So the technique was termed mitochondrial replacement. And again, it can be like an organ transplant. You're taking someone's kidney and you're putting that in. You're taking someone's DNA and putting it in. Okay, so they really have that component. But really the genetic makeup, the gender part, is not going to be made up by the mitochondrial DNA. It's going to be made up by the DNA that you're putting in from the mother.
Yeah, but the koach hamayimid is the egg of the donor.
No.
But
No,
the
the
egg
question
itself.
is-
It's not been implanted in anyone yet. Just wait a second.
Think about
You're
it.
going far. You're
question
stepping
is-
ahead.
Think about
It's not
the
implanted
shell.
yet.
It's not
It's still in the
implanted
dish.
at all, and it's
It's
in
still in
the
the
dish.
dish.
It's in the
When you
dish.
fertilize,
Nothing yet. It's not even fertilized.
yeah, when you fertilize the egg, I don't know.
Go ahead, Larry.
When you fertilize the egg,
Right?
you're fertilizing the egg, not the DNA.
But no,
You can't fertilize
Well, yeah,
DNA.
that's what I'm trying to get at.
You can't. The environment requires the DNA. Okay, you have to have DNA to fertilize it.
You have to have a
Very quick.
DNA if it's going to be a
You
person.
can't fertilize mitochondria to mitochondria. Nothing will happen. So you're in an egg. You're in the incubator per se, right? How do they create? For example, how do they create test tube babies? They create an environment that allows that to take place, right?
Yeah, but I'm trying to understand.
The sperm.
You need an egg, you fertilize an egg,
That's
not
correct.
the DNA. Is that correct?
But the DNA is made up of the egg is made up of DNA.
The DNA's in there.
Nothing will happen, David. The egg is a bag. Nothing happens without the DNA. Without the DNA, that's just a bag of liquid, so to speak, with mitochondrial DNA.
It's the same story with the cheese.
You can impregnate it with sperm, and nothing happens.
You can't
fertilize it.
fertilize
Okay.
the DNA.
You asked again the question. Wait, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go
You
ahead.
don't fertilize the egg either.
Okay, anyway, I got my answer.
Okay, so again, as we look at it, as you'll see, in parts of the world, it's legal. In the United States, it's not. So I said, anytime you have these advances, you have these legislative issues. In the United States, right now, it's not legal.
Let's do it anyway.
Process.
No, they're not doing it. The one process here was in Mexico.
Where
done
was
in Mexico.
2016? That was Mexico.
Mexico. Okay? And it's like any research, like embryonic research has not been legal in the United States in reality. And stuff that you do,
Question.
yeah,
When this baby is born, and if it's a female,
right?
what type of mitochondrial DNA will it have?
It will have the DNA of the donor.
From the donor.
From
So
the
it no
donor.
longer has the birth mother's
Bad DNA.
It has now good forever.
Mitochondrial DNA forever.
Mitochondrial.
Mitochondrial.
Mitochondria.
Yeah, mitochondrial.
Mitochondria will be
No,
for
wait,
the donor.
no,
Like your
the
brother
mother,
will be for
the
the
mother
Yeah.
still has her same mitochondrial
Right,
DNA.
Right.
Okay, but the
The
process of
baby-
IVF, she
Yeah.
will have, the
Different-
offspring will have the
better.
good mitochondrial DNA from a donor.
It's like a form of getting rid of certain.
Mitochondrial DNA, and how about the
Again,
DNA?
the
No,
exact
the
way
DNA
it
would
is.
DNA from the mother.
It doesn't
From the
change.
The
original mother.
DNA doesn't change.
The DNA
Right.
is the mother's.
And therefore, by the way, if the mitochondria lady
Yeah.
is non-Jewish and the DNA is Jewish, this is a Jew and a non-Jew together. Who is the mother? Is it Jewish? Is the kid Jewish or not Jewish? Now you understand this here.
So
Yeah,
the,
no,
Who
but
carried the
Svika-
baby?
But Svika, your question is that you have two separate
That's it.
entities, but you don't have two separate entities.
Yeah, you have two separate entities.
look
Plus,
like
who's
there's
carrying the
two
baby?
separate
You got a third person as the surrogate.
Okay.
Then what are you gonna
Now you start the
There's a Jewish mother, there's a Jewish mother, and not a
Where are you going at it?
Depends on
Let's continue. I just want you to understand the complex of the problem.
If I put, if I put a heart from person A into person B,
I really want.
ratio of
We'll talk about that too in a second.
mitochondrial DNA. Mitochondrial DNA is just a fuel.
There's nothing compared. It's hundreds compared to billions.
Mitochondrial DNA is
very
the
small.
fuel. It's not the
It's
basic.
the energy developing part of everything.
What's the mother's
Majority, overwhelming. It's such a small part of the DNA.
What type of mutations are from
DNA is billions greater than the mitochondria.
I just gave you this syndrome.
At least it meets your
they have a lot
air.
of different.
are a lot of
Fuel. It's the energy. So that the other DNA.
Okay, you'll let you ask questions later on. Just 1 second. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so the question that's been raised is what about these donated mitochondria? What effect does it have on the offspring? The answer is it really has none if it's successful, and that's where this encouraging research has gone. At least in the study, the babies that have been born from this exchange, there's been no bioeffect that's apparent bioeffect on the development. Who knows what generations will be, but if you look at done in animal work beforehand, it should not have any effect. Because again, it serves one purpose, and that is an energy developing risk for the infant.
But now they're all going to be Mexicans.
You never know.
Or Ukrainians and British.
No, leave it off.
Leave it up, leave it up.
Don't do that.
Leave it off. I could change the format of the color.
he told me to.
Here's
They allow
the.
an American with animals, though.
They do all that animal research.
In America, yeah.
Sure. So here's the question about numbers. How much? How much a parent is the woman who donates her mitochondria? Short answer, not much, because there's not very much in there. It's a very small fragment. 99% of the proteins in your body are regular DNA. That's everything else we talked about. Hair.
Why not? It's 100%.
99.
Because men have mitochondria.
No, they do, and I'm going to get to that instead of where they get it from. Mitochondria are primarily related to energy production and metabolism, and so therefore the resemblance has nothing to do with the mitochondria. What the child will look like, it looks like the two parents that we're talking about. So the question that you raised, and I'm going to go there, is it's banned in the United States. It does have hope for others, and I believe it will be used in the United States. So the question is, as I said to you, most of it come from women. Why not men? How do we function differently than that? So the answer is, if you think about it, and why it is there is mitochondrial DNA in men. There's mitochondrial DNA in the sperm. Okay? But all of the mitochondria, or 99% of it, 98% of it, it functions in the tail. That's the energy producing one to get it into the air.
So it's once.
So
They expend their energy.
So they expend their
Getting
energy
there.
and everything in the tail to get in to implant. So that's the reason why. So at first it was thought, okay? At first it was thought that there isn't in men. There is in men. If you do all the studies, there's clearly mitochondrial DNA that you'll find in male, in sperm, and for that reason alone. Now, if you look up the genetics of it, and I think that if you've gotten the email, you saw that Ernie Agassi mentioned about numbers.
Now I can understand his email.
There's that in reality there's only 16 genes that mitochondrial DNA have, in compared to billions, in a sense, of different genes that we all have, hundreds, millions of genes that we all have. So it's a very small component of it. But yes, it can come from a third party. Yes, it should be looked at, as I said, the best, easiest way to think about it is, if you get an organ transplant, are you that other person? What are you? You're not the other person. So along the same lines, you have to think of it this way, in what mitochondrial DNA will do. It will be disease prevention, because it's all done on IVF. It's pre-implantation. And the ability to make this happen obviously carries risk. And you know, in the U.S., they're very restrictive in government funding for anything that manipulates the embryo. And that's why a lot of it's done in Mexico, where this one was done. that we've reported, and there'll be plenty others that will be done all around the world. We're much more liberal to have that.
What's the FDA's objection? Moral or?
Moral.
Yeah. It's like stem cell research. Is this like a different form of PGD essentially because you're removing and then replacing and extracting?
Well, no. The role it will be is
Israel doing it?
Israel?
I'm sure they are.
They're doing PGDs, so
The PGD is very different. See what's happening in PGD is, so understand there's two things that are going on in IVF today: PGD and PGS. PGS means screening, so many couples who go through IVF will have pre-implantation screening done. They may be infertile and they're just having IVF and they want to make sure before they implant, they may have 8 embryos, they want to know which one to implant. So they'll take one cell, and we'll talk about that for a second, and they'll study that. That's PGS, screening. Pre-implant PGD, on the other hand, which everyone mixed the two up, PGD is that you have a disease, okay? You could have Tay-Sachs, for example, and the couple has IVF to identify the embryos that have Tay-Sachs and the ones that don't have, and they'll put the ones in that don't have the Tay-Sachs, use those embryos, we'll leave the other ones out. So that's PGD, that's diagnosis, specifically looking for the specific abnormality that the family has carried.
Isn't that kind of what's going on here? Because you're taking the mitochondrial DNA, you're pulling it out, or pulling out the regular DNA and putting it back in. You're kind of doing like a reverse PGD.
No, it's not. So one is diagnosis. This is treatment. This is what's different about this one.
This is different.
This is
you take the gene out and you put another gene.
But there they take the egg that doesn't, or DNA that doesn't have a problem and use it.
The problem with PGD and PGS, for that matter, so we all understand that at one basis, is that this is only one cell of the body. So it's not 100%. When you do pre-implantation diagnosis, you still could have that disease. So there's still a chance that you could have a baby with the problem.
I see.
Okay, this is trying to treat and avoid it. If you've taken out the DNA and left the bad stuff in the last part and put in the new stuff, then you're not going to have that.
So then you have a 0% chance.
Theoretically, it's a much safer way.
So now I don't understand why the FDA is against it.
Perfect egg.
What's morally? They didn't do anything wrong. Anti-moral.
Because
Slippery slope. Slippery slope.
That's it. Of course. It starts with abortion. It starts with all those processes. That's
it's like they had this thing in Virginia, late term abortion. Now it's all discussion that even when the baby is already born, the question is, what do you do? I mean, it leads from one thing leads to another. So they're very.
Yeah, so, but the doctors are responsible. They swore, and I'm sure the doctor won't do something against the law. You know, we have good doctors.
Don't be sure of that.
Of course not. Of course not.
Every time your doctor gives you a drug that's off-label,
Just like rabbis keep.
No, that's not illegal.
No, it's not.
That's not illegal.
I'm not saying that, but it's.
That's not illegal.
But they're making a decision that's not based on necessarily.
It's typically based on expert consensus, but not science necessarily.
But it's done for the health of the woman, the physical and the mental health. This thing with the third trimester abortion, sometimes a woman's going to have a deformed baby, so why go through the whole pregnancy when you could abort, say, at 32 weeks? And I know that it's been done. You know, even in Los Angeles.
I'm sure it's been done in Los Angeles.
Are you expecting an answer?
No. I mean, it was told to me by someone who he trained. Did you train Ruth Petrucia? Remember? Yeah. I worked with her for several years at Kaiser.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
Any questions? Now you can turn on the line and ask the question. We will be a better to ask the questions.
Now you're going to...
Oh my
Yeah. Any questions? To Larry? Otherwise, I'm going to start. Okay. First of all, I want you to know, maybe in the United States, the FDA is not allowing this issue, doesn't issue two mothers, three mothers, four parents. I want you to know that the rabbis already ever machlokes. Rabbi Weiss wrote an article. Rabbi Dr. Bleich wrote an article. Bakshi Doron, chief rabbi, the previous chief rabbi, Sfari chief rabbi, he was at the beginning of this cytoplasma, they call it. At that time, they just took an injection of the DNA, not of the DNA, of the mitochondria. Today they do it differently, but that's what he was talking. And he said there's no way you're allowed to do it according to the Jewish law, because one of the reasons, one is Jewish mother and one is not Jewish mother. Who is really the mother? And now David was asking the question, actually Aaron asked the question, there's another issue. Who is carrying that baby? It's an IVF baby. Who is carrying the baby? The Jewish mother, so it may be two Jews, one little goy, or vice versa. Can you imagine what kind of bilbul?
Could be three mothers.
Could be
Two-thirds,
and one mother. So
yeah, because somebody's carrying the egg.
I prepared. I worked a couple of months on this this issue, and I have 147 pages on this issue. However, I divided it into four. The first one is which you have on the table. It's to explain to you, first of all, mother. Who is the mother? What is the mother? And secondly, what is mitochondria? Can't still pronounce it. But I put it. I have it in Hebrew and in English. That's what we are going to. I made it very short with the help of Larry. I want to find out in the Tanakh. We add an issue of mothers, two mothers and a father, or two fathers and a mother. In Tanakh. What's Shlomo Melech? Shlomo Melech? No, come on, Shlomo Melech. I'm trying to be serious, okay? So for this, we're going to learn a Gemara in Soiter. And you'll find out there is, I wish Ernie would be here. I learned that Gemara with him many years ago. And why don't you please write the Gemara? We'll learn who was Goliath. And after we finish this, we'll go into the mother's issue. The pasuk in Shmuel Aleph. You guys have it? Yeah. The pasuk in Shmuel Aleph tells us, "Vayetze ish abenaim memachnot Plishtim, Goliath shmo migat gov'o shesh amo vazer." He was a huge person, very large person. If you look at Likutei Shashu Midrashei Tanoim at the bottom, he quotes you actually the Gemara. There's a machlok between Bavli and the Yerushalmi who he is. Rabbi Yochanan Omar. You guys have it?
Yeah.
Barmea Papi Vechada Nanai. Translation. Shenotzar, he was created, Miben Mea Avot Chorgim. The mother had relationship with 100 men. The Av Mamashi Echad, however, the real father was one. The Ainu, explained, Anashim Rabim Ba'alu et Imo. Many men had the relationship with the mother. ורק מאחד מהם הוא אביו. עד שמע מנה שהאישה אינה מתעברת משני בני אדם כאחד. Naturally, sperm you need for one person, you want sperm and one mother, it's okay, that's what happened with Goliath. However, פליגה על רבונון דאגדתא, מחלוקת. דרבונון דאגדתא אומרים, ויצא איש הביניים ממערות הפלישתים, what does it mean? ממאה ערלות פלישתים, 100 ערלות פלישתים, שהערו בה 100 עיירות פלישתים, 100 men slept with her. גוליית שמו גת, תניא רבי יוסף שהכל נשים בה באמו בתשיש כגת שיש לו שני בנים. Okay, that's the Agartha. Turn to page number 2. This is the Gemara that we read, on page number 2, which is number 200, page number 25. If you look at Rashi, Rashi says, בר 100, papi וחד.נ.א. בן תערובת is a son, a mixture of a son and mixture, שבאו הרבה אנשים על אמו בלילה אחד, ונתעברה מין אחד. נמצא אחד אביו וכולם מנאפים. All the people that had that relationship, but they didn't, the father was only one. Turn to Tosfos, to the right. Comes Tosfos, בירושלמי 100 פאפי חד.נ.א. בירושה בפרק החולץ הגמורה וחיובים, אשם תלוי עד שמע מינה, שהאישה מתעברת וחוזרת ומתעברת. She was pregnant, and the second time she got pregnant. You tell me if it's feasible. שמע מינה שאין האישה מתעברת משני בני אדם כאחד. At one time she could not be pregnant, at one shot. ופליגי על רבונן דאגדתא, רבונן דאגדתא אומרים, ויצא איש הביניים ממערכות פלישתים ב100 הרעלות פלישתים, שהראו בה 100 הרעלות פלישתים, או מרמתניה, ולא פליגי עד שלא נשרכה זרע האישה מתעברת, משני בני אדם כאחד. ושנשרח הזרע אין האישה מתעברת. It means when the sperm is alive, I don't know what it means, נשרח means לשון סירחון, vital. So she could be pregnant from two
at the same time.
But here you have two fathers, but only one mother.
Wait.
The same age.
We're starting off with fantasy.
When I talked to Ernie, when I learned this Gemara with Ernie, I went on another sugya, and he said, it's impossible. I don't know what you say.
Of course he says it's impossible.
Possible?
No, it's possible. You say it's possible?
I wish Ernie would be here.
You say it's possible?
He said he wanted to be here.
I mean, there's possibilities that you can be pregnant with two separate. For example, this example maybe not exactly correct.
One
say
egg,
it's possible.
two sperms.
Well, no, because you can penetrate both. I mean, that's the concept if you have identical twins that are that way, monozygotic. One egg. That's two sperms.
No, but I'm saying one egg fraternal twin being fertilized by two sperm.
That's two eggs.
But that's two people.
It could be two people. So you could have two people with two eggs.
You can have one egg.
What about one person?
Yeah, but you won't have one person out of that. That you'd have two people. No, that you have two people that way, not one person.
Yeah, but that's the she has relationship with more than one person the same night.
So only one sperm is going to fertilize.
That one egg.
So if it can be
Yeah, but he's saying two eggs, which is two people.
But the other way it's done today, that's actually common. No, what happens common in IVF patients, if for a surrogate, for example, and they place one in, and she has relations with someone else, she can be pregnant with two twins.
One from her naturally.
Yeah, but two different people.
And that's why, by the way, a surrogate is not allowed to have a relationship for 3 months.
They're not supposed to.
Okay, not supposed to. That's halakha.
I understand. But
okay, that's halakha. You're not allowed to have 3 months relationship. That's afchona.
But you still haven't answered how Gully is. One human being could have been fertilized by two zeros. Not possible.
Okay.
I don't. What do you mean, why not?
No, because it's a single egg.
The birds between.
Majority
What's the size of the sperm? It doesn't happen.
Splitting
twins. What?
It's two men and one woman. Two fathers or more. One.
Okay.
Now let's
You
continue.
can see that machlekes between Rashi and Tosfos. According Rashi is like Ernie, and Tosfos is like Larry. Is that what it is? I'll tell you. I'll go to Rav Zilberstein what he thinks about it in a second. But you can see that Tosfos himself quotes later on the Aruch. If you look at it, and Tosfos quotes him, and he says, "Pirush Aruch natnai kelev shebau alei 100 anoshim lekelev echad." It was a dog. Also, the relationship was. You can see that Tosfos and the problem. What is it? Two? Is it possible? So he takes it to unnatural. Okay, come. I'm not even getting to learn again the Tosfos. Moshe in page number 27. This question was asked in 1959. You have to understand, it was the beginning of artificial insemination, am I right? I don't know, it was the beginning of artificial, that's right. So, בדבר מה שנשאלתי, מראייתו הרבנית, כבודה אישה אחת שנתביישה לשאול. A woman was afraid to ask if she's allowed to have that treatment. נתעררתי להשיב, so I did not answer right away because I didn't know what to answer. What did he do? And by the way, and that you see, Reb Moshe had a system, how he's doing it. משום שרציתי לחקור הדבר אצל רופאים מומחים. I wanted to ask doctor. I don't know anything, I asked doctor. Who is the doctor he's asking? כפי שנודעתי על ידי חתני רב מוישה טנזר. So they can see that Reb Moshe's opinion quite, at least he's admitting that he gets it from them. מה שמוסיפים, it was a little bit different than that.
Now then he asked his grandson after that. His grandson was a physician.
Mordechai? Oh,
no.
Yeah.
The grandson was a physician.
Right, okay. מה שמוסיפים לזרע של איש זה מזרע של איש אחר שקוראים בוסטר. Now you can explain what booster is. הוא רק עניין רמאות. He says, people come to the doctor. And they say, doctor, I was told my sperm is not good enough. The doctor has in his bank some sperm, and he adds
that sperm, and he says it's
so he tells him somebody, okay, is it true? That's what you doctors do?
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's their own.
There's a guy, Nathanson, who did that.
Yeah.
In Washington, D.C.
In Israel, they did quite a lot.
Father of American.
He was in prison.
Right.
They have the Kfar Saba,
גם בארץ. They cultivate them.
From America, I kept on
So, עניין רמאות להשקיט רוח בעל האישה, they want to quiet him, the husband, שיחשוב שהזרע גם הזרע שלו. It wasn't his sperm, it was somebody else's sperm, but let him think. אבל באמת אינו כלום. לפי מה שרש"י בסויטה דף מ"ב כתב, שבאו הרבה אנשים על אישה בלילה אחד ונתעברה, אין העיבור אלא בן אחד. הרי אי אפשר זה כלל שיהיה לשניים חלק אהבת. It's impossible, the two. See Moshe, because Moshe Tendler told him that it's impossible. Then he says, anyway, even though Tosfos said that, so I don't know, I have to go and explain Tosfos. But the truth of the matter, Moshe Tendler is right. Okay, that's what he holds. Then what will be the question? If you look at page number 28, if the Moshe Tendler is wrong, and now we can see two men could be the father. So חיון הדין עלי בתוספות, יש להסתפק לידו. שני כהנים, דתו כהנים, שבאו על אישה אחת ונהיה בלילה אחד. So is a חצי כהן or not חצי כהן? Can you imagine another question? Because it's missing the yichus. He has to have a yichus from the shevet hakuna from Kehat. He doesn't have a shevet hakuna from somebody else. He's not a real Kohen.
And was she married?
No, she couldn't have been married.
I just show you, I purposely showed Reb Moshe. This Shiloh was not Reb Moshe Shiloh, somebody else after Shiloh. It started with Reb Moshe. We know it from Reb Moshe. Okay. So, for this, I will ask the Shiloh on page number 31. Yitzchak Zilberstein is Rav Elyashiv's son-in-law.
Which page are you in?
Page number 31.
31.
מעשה בנאורה שנאנסה משני בני אדם שתקפו אותה. A lady was raped by two men. ובעלו אותה זה אחר זה. It happens. וניסברה. ולא ידוע ממי. We don't know who is the attacker, who is the father actually. Is the father. Now the question is not a shaila because it's one. Maybe
one or the other.
According to Tosfos, maybe it says both.
According to Moshe, would be one.
But the way he asked the shaila, so he himself brings the Gemara that we learn, the Gemara in Shmuel, and let's see what he says here. What will be the shilas? If that's the case, this lady right now has a baby. Who is the baby? One is a Kohen, one is not a Kohen. Let's go. So he has the child. לגבי ייבום. נסתפק מורי חמי, you can see the הרב אלישיב was asked the question. האם לאותם 100 אבות יש דין של אב לגבי דיני התורה? All those men that had relationship that were the father of Goliath. Let's assume Goliath was not a goy. He was Jewish. Okay?
To who would he belong?
There is a din ייבום there? Says, לגבי ייבום, אדם שמת בלא בנים, if somebody died without any kids, אך היה מאותם 100 אבות שהראו בעורפה. Goliath, let's assume he's Jewish, and he died without kids. He's Jewish, not the ייבום. האם נחשב גוליית לזרע יש לו, ואין עורפה חולצת? What?
He's about the 100 men.
That man, right.
Far-fetched case he's putting together.
Yeah, but
the case is the concept.
in Lomdes you go because you try to get to a point. הרב אלישיב, אם הבן הנולד יורש מקצת נכסי אביו, this kid is יורש. Kohen and Israel, you can see the shilas. So he answers.
So we have to come to the end.
And that's what I want to read. I want to read his answer. Rav Zilberstein answer. In page number 32, I'll read it to you because where he quotes from. אולי אפשר לפסוק סופק זה מהגמרא בחולין. The Gemara says, אם נאמר דמיקצה שא ושא. You know, what happened if, for instance, the halacha is that you are not allowed to shecht a father and a son and Beima and a son at the same time, right? A daughter. What happened?
I mean, the mother and
the son, you're not allowed to do it. What happened right now if it is not real mother? Or the son is not real son. What does it mean? The mother was created in a camels. The cow was in a camel cow.
What's the what?
So it's half a cow, half a camel.
What about the sheep that they cloned?
Dolly.
Daddy, I tell you what he does. So the Gemara says, say, mikzat say. Even mikzat say, says he right now, the same kind of the kid now that he's created, that's what he wants to say here, is also mikzat. I was a mikzat say. So the same kind here, a Kohen is a mixed Kohen. Can we say, like we say mixed say,
it should be each one.
Exactly. What would you think? The mitochondrial mother. Now let's go back to the mother. Our case, Larry's case. The mitochondrial mother is Jewish, and the mitochondria, the DNA is not Jewish, or vice versa. The two mothers? Can it be two mothers? Can you have two mothers? That's the question. Says Reb Moshe Sternbuch, yes. So big deal. So I asked Reb Moshe Sternbuch about the case that you guys didn't agree with me. When the incubator, when somebody will grow eventually, I don't know if you know that, I wrote an article about it, when somebody will grow from the beginning till the end in the incubator. Okay. IVF, they put it in an incubator. It works now for a couple of weeks at the beginning and a couple of weeks at the end. What will happen, and I have already medical reports that it could be eventually in 5-6 years from now it will be done.
You won't need a womb.
So I asked, we won't need a womb.
It will be a fake womb. It's a robotic womb.
Incubator. I'll give it to you if you want in English. I'll give it to you in English.
No, they're doing it now.
Okay. Wow. I wish Ernie would be here.
A few weeks ago, I was going crazy on that.
You remember how crazy everybody was?
Larry, successful.
Oh, wait, I just want to tell you what Moshe Sternbuch says. There's Moshe Sternbuch. You know who's the mother? The incubator.
Even in the U.S. No, because it's not even.
What do you mean, like the incubator? So, there's no mother. Who says there's to be mother? It's like the same what we say on the golem. Who is the father of the golem? The Gemara Kacham Tzvi in Siman Yud Aleph or Ein Aleph. Who is the mother? There's no mother. There's no mother. There's a baby.
The egg has no purpose.
Now you ask me a moral thing. You have to ask him. Medical thing. Ask me.
That's Shiloh. If you have the IVF, you have a petri dish. You have a real egg from a real
that's what he said. Two mothers can't be two mothers. It's not only Rav Shafran, who is really Rav Shafran is a Lakewood guy. Today he's a big posek in Israel, and he claims it can't be two mothers. Cannot be two mothers. They. You understand? Medically, can be two mothers? Yes.
Yes, we said.
No, he says no. He doesn't call the other one of a mother. That's all. He doesn't call her a mother.
You could have. I mean, the problem even with two males, you're going to have abnormal chromosomes. You'll have abnormal DNA, and whether that's going to survive or not is a different story.
But the mitochondrial is two.
Yeah, but that's your definition. You're not duplicating. Understand? You're not duplicating cells.
Duplicating
You're
anything.
replacing. It's an organ transplant. That's why I used that word before.
Yeah.
You're replacing.
Yeah, but if somebody replaces a heart,
DNA, but it's only going to be from two people.
No, but you could have.
if you replace a heart, if you replace a heart, the person is the same person even with somebody else's heart.
But the heart is something. This is in the DNA. The DNA is the source. It's different.
But it's different DNA.
We have one of the guys that learn with me, Pinchas Nissanov. You know Pinchas. He's 80 actually next week. He's 80 years old. He has a new heart. He almost died. I remember we went to visit him. He was almost dead in Cedar Sinai. Somehow we got an young Indian heart. Today he comes to the shiur, he sits alone, his wife was...
Shoots bow and arrow afterwards?
Pardon?
Bows and arrows afterwards?
We'll try. Now he has a casino.
Not India, that's why. No, India.
He goes and plays with the cows after. He plays the cows.
So, but the heart is... David asking, the heart is somebody else's heart, is he a different person? No. The heart is his. By the way, I go back to another article that I wrote. What happened if you took the Indian hand and you put it on his hand, and you attach it to his hand, and it's regular hand, transplant hand, so much so in this hand. Can you put filling on?
Yes.
Yes.
Never the get. With the get, they have the question. No?
Can you give it
Let me get. I'm married. But what I'm trying to say, for Moshe Sternbuch to say easily, he's not mother. What do you mean not mother? It's not the golem.
When did he say that? What year? Recently?
You'll see next week in this. Sure, recently, couple of months ago.
He didn't have knowledge of mitochondrial.
He agrees with DNA now. It also took a long time. He accepts DNA. I took Ernie with me to
Why there is no concept of beetle barovio? If you only fix one gene.
That's what he's getting at.
Rabbi Osher Weiss says the beetle barov, it's nothing. Says Bleich to him, Rabbi Bleich, saying inside. You cannot beetle barov because beetle barov is only when it's nothing. This is davar amami. This makes the person different.
He was saying.
Davar amami. That you say davar amami.
It's necessary.
There's something else. There's something else beetle barov. You can't be born beetle barov.
Yeah, but this. Okay, so he says.
Whichever way you look at it.
By the way, Moshe Weiss is showing up here on the 10th.
But Zvika, it's only
next week.
Coming on the 10th.
It's only double choshu.
Okay, I don't hear.
only davar chashuv because of your analyzing and your ability to check all those details. But if you take just the material, it's wrong.
Why do you do this action? Why do you do this work?
Why do you do it?
Because you want it. Because of a
if it gives the main time, it's not bottled, no matter how much little you use.
If you're using a microscope, you cannot drink water. That's what the
But if it gives the right...
So here also, you only know that it's davar mamit because you're using the technology. So if you just measure the amount of material that you have,
the bugs in the water are not miming. They're not davar miming the bugs in the water. It's a bad example.
What?
It's not davar miming the bugs in the water.
Right, the water is a birya b'fnats.
So why is that birya? Why is that birya?
That's a different dose.
No, necessary.
So why is davar mamit here? Only because of the microscope.
That's because it has to be seen.
No, because it is davar miming even without the microscope.
It's the same material. It's not like granite and cheese.
Guys,
this is a sperm and this is a sperm. It's the same material. You only know that there is a problematic gene here because you have a microscope.
That makes you so excited. It's very big, but davar
It's the same material. It's like a minnow.
your genes are very prominent.
okay, I hear you. We'll learn next week. Make sure that you show up next week. Don't say. Show up next week. And we'll learn the Moshe Weiss. We'll learn what he says. He says what you said, and we'll learn live.
You know that means Zvika doesn't, right?
I want you to read the Sikum of Rabbi Silberstein. Our strain, without me, no adjectives. Page number 34. You remember this question? Two ladies, one lady was raped by two men. So he says Sikum. Tell us, maybe you go later before what the doctor told him. הדברים סתומים ונעלמים מעימנו. I don't understand what's going on. It's סתום. It's unclear. At the bottom, page number 34, the last paragraph. אך לא דברים אלו, according to this, ייתכן ששני תאי זרע, ששני הבועלים, two sperms, יפעלו בביצית של האישה. will act there. The עקרונית, principally, to frame אחד. She's going to be only pregnant for one. אך השני, but the second one, look, that's how I want to know it's true. הוא יתרום חלק מסוים בילד שייוולד. He will give something. So it means...
What is it? Where does he get that from?
Wait. ואף על פי שבבדיקת הרקמות יימצא שהילוד הוא בנו של אחד, even though the DNA will find out that he's only a child of one person. ייתכן שגם השני קרם חלק מסוים, still I think that he could be. ויש מקום להחמיר שהילוד יתייחס גם לשני שלא יישא את ביתו של השני.
that's לחומרה.
כי אסור לך, נו בסדר.
כי also
Does he sit shiva for that father too?
No, it doesn't matter. That's the chumrah.
No, it's a chumrah that he can't marry the...
You know what? But that's him.
He's saying he doesn't know. He goes to the chumrah.
Okay.
I understand. No, that I understand.
So, there is one way, you know. You talked about Kevin.
What page are you on?
No, 100%. I'm not saying that. No, I'm saying that. Which is why he's...
Can you talk about Camila? Because I thought that's an answer to Zilberstein. Can you say about Camila? One second. To answer Zilberstein, because Zilberstein said it could be, doctors say it can be, so somebody found me an article, actually a lady, Aviad Govich's wife, she's genetic. She's studying genetics in Tel Aviv University, and she wrote this article. She gave me this article that it could be. I don't know. Honestly, I don't understand exactly.
It's a combination. The chimera has both cells from. It can have
How is it possible?
Because it's fusion. It occurs commonly, and if it's going to happen, it'll be more commonly in IVF, where there's some mechanical changes that happen.
Say that. What is it?
It has parts of.
Lives in Hollywood?
What page
Lives in Hollywood.
35. It's in Hebrew and in English.
Like fusion, like when you're like splicing plants together.
It is so complicated. How it can be from
two fertilized eggs, and then get fertilized.
But it wasn't done intentionally. Larry, not that intentionally.
Not intentionally. No, it's an error of metabolism.
So it could be what I understand. It could be two DNA.
This is
to the same person. Two DNA to the same person, but it's not mixed. One on top of another, and I don't know what I'm talking about.
There was a guy who thought it was the father.
It's one DNA on top of another.
He was their uncle.
Think about it a little different way. Think about it hermaphrodite.
Think about what?
It's a different package. Oh, it's a different package.
That basically but a hermaphrodite is still one fertilized egg. No, that's mutated. This you're saying is two. Right, but you're saying this is two full fertilized eggs.
That's a combination of gender.
But you're saying this is two full fertilized eggs. Hermaphrodite is one fertilized egg with mutation. So there is a difference.
But it's the same basis. It's crazy. It's an abnormality. That's all. It's not a normal function. That's it.
One more that in one more case that we do have, and we didn't speak about it. Maybe I figured at the end, is cloning. How do you clone?
If. That was my shadow with Dolly. That's the 7th.
Oh, okay.
You clone, you can clone, you don't have to clone from a test. So it could be also two mothers. Perfect. That's how you do it. Or no mother, yeah. Whatever. In a cloning, nobody can be two mothers. So cloning could be also a way of two mothers.
But two mothers. It's one. It's not two.
You can take you need a lady to give birth, right? At least for the time being. So you take from one lady the
hair,
and then
the eyes from another one,
right?
And the skin from another.
You don't understand, but it's a fact.
They do little cocktails. They're gonna do a cocktail.
You can definitely.
You can already do that now. Can't you choose hair color and eye color and stuff?
Theoretically change.
They're already picking things out.
Anyway.
And gender picking also, aren't they?
So next week we will be speaking the halachic directly. Here we spoke about men. Two men with one. Next week we'll speak about what the Moshe Weiss says, what the Moshe Sternbuch says, what Rabbi Black says, and what you will say, what actually Nati is going to say.
I think Nati said it already. Pretty loudly.
Nati, from Beverly Hills you have all the information. I don't know
What do you mean? They daven in the shul?
And thank you very much, Larry, for joining us. Appreciate it. Thank you all of you coming. Thank you.